Masakit ang ulo natin dito. Alright. Alright. Hello everyone! Maagang araw pa ngayon. Hindi ko alam kung gising pa yung iba or hindi. Depending on time zone. Mukhang maaga pa sa Amerika. Ay, gabi na pala sa Amerika or maaga pa sa Europe. Wherever you're joining us from or kung nag-join pa kayo, mag-hi lang ako ng sandali. Kamusta naman kayo dyan? Ang daming ganap. Medyo naano naman natin yung tulog natin kagabi with all of the developments happening. Unang-una napansin ko guys, mukhang nagsibalikan na yung mga troll farms. I'll tell you what guys, biglang out of nowhere nakikita ko, ba't yung mga post ko about the Dutertes and all, mga few months ago, biglang ngayon marami mga nagko-comment na OPC troll accounts. Na lock yung account, 5 lang yung followers, lahat ng mga post nila, this year lang, yung mga ganun. So obviously guys, nagsilabasan na yung mga troll farms. So, alam niyo na nangyayari yan. Napansin ko rin, meron ng demolition job laban sa mga maraming mga congressmen. Now, iba naman sa kanya, talagang trapo naman, kailangan mo demolition job. But, nevertheless, something is going on, guys. Something is going on. There is a group at least there who are really on the offensive right now. Lahat ng mga congressman, I think si Congressman Abante, ang latest na nakikita ko sa memes right and left, nakita ko sa meme na tinatabi pa siya kay ano, ang pangalan ng isa, yung naglabas ng deal. I mean, and I see all of these pictures kay Stella Kimbo, dun sa mga ibang congressman, lahat ng mga kasama dun sa mga hearings, ng mga Yumenat hearings ay tinitira ngayon, 'di ba? So, making stories out of them, their lifestyle, blah blah blah. So, this looks like to me a group is really on the offensive mode. This looks to me that we're not in ordinary moments. This looks to me that we're not just in a moment na magpipiesta lang at magpapakute lang at magso-social meeting lang, ganyan-ganyan. I think people have to realize we are on the verge of direct political confrontation like we have never seen. Hindi lang natapos ang unit team. Okay? Tapos ng unit team for better rather than for worse. Clearly ngayon, magkaaway na all out ang administrasyon ni BBM at saka aliado niya and the Sara Duterte camp. It's an all-out war. And yung ginawa ni Sara Duterte nung isang araw, na na-misinterpret ng lahat na parang sabi niya, si Richard, Team Sara ka na ba? Oh, Team Sara na ako pero hindi Team Duterte. No. Yung sinabi niya na essentially, ay wala akong pake dito sa hearing niya, ano lang to witch hunt lang to The way she went there and just tried to shut down the whole event, that was her declaration of war. Yung positioning niya, yung posturing niya, yung pakit niya, or whatever you want to call it, na parang binibiktima siya, na bias yung Congress, they're trying to prevent me from running again in 2028, this is all, that's, eto na, the battle lines have been drawn. Guys, the battle, gera na tayo guys, gera na to, this is political warfare na. I don't know anong klaseng, hindi mo kailangan maging henyo, hindi mo kailangan maging blogger, podcaster, PhD in political science, or professor, para mag-gets mo, nasa gitna na po tayo ng isang political warfare. And dun sa mga nakinig sa akin kahapon, nakinig dun sa interview natin kahapon with Professor Joseph Scalise, Dr. Scalise, no, who was joining us from Hong Kong. His read on this, and by the way, he's very progressive. He's even more progressive than Bernie Sanders. But his read on this is yung away sa pagitan ng mga Marcoses and Dutertes is also a cold war between US and China. Particularly because the Duterte camp essentially is the camp that China is betting on. Alright? So let's be absolutely clear about this, guys. We're not only in the middle of a political warfare, we are in the middle of a geopolitical cold war between US and China. With China, clearly, I think you need to be quite imaginative not to see what China wants to happen dito sa Pilipinas. Alright? Now, against that backdrop, alright, paparating na elections, alright, filing na ng certificate of candidacy in 2 weeks from now, or less than 2 weeks actually, there's a high likelihood na magsasampa ng impeachment someone. Hindi ko alam kung Trillanes or someone like that. There's a very high likelihood that there'll be a filing of impeachment. As I said in our RRM episode, I think it's too late na. I think this should have been done 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think sumabla yung iba sa Congress dun sa latest hearing nila kay Sara. The momentum has been affected. But the fact of the matter is, there is a push to impeach Sara by people, let's be clear, people na hindi necessarily pro-Marcos. In fact, many of them are anti-Marcos. But these are people who care about confidential funds. These are people who care about the Duterte legacy. These are people who care about what it could mean if Sara Duterte becomes the president. She is a breath away from the presidency. I hope people understand what's going on here. Okay? We're not in ordinary circumstances. We are in the middle of a brewing mini civil war, if ever. God forbid. But at the very least, all-out political warfare na ito. As Senator Rizon Tiveros said, and this was quoted by Sara during yung Yumenat hearings, na the threat of the return of Duterte is just hovering over the horizon. That it's possible any moment the Duterte's come back. And with Duterte's coming back, it will be back with vengeance. Alright? It will be back with more war on drugs, with more pro-China policies, with more red tagging, potentially with more harassment of the media. Alright? Let's be absolutely clear about this. Hindi po tayo nasa fiesta ngayon. Okay? I don't care kung may fiesta nangyari here and there, pero hindi tayo nasa gitna ng fiesta pagdating sa politika natin. At the same time, guys, nasa frontline na po tayo. Ang China po ay umaasa dun sa kanilang tuta dito. Dun sa kanilang aliado, sa mga kakampi nila dito, na to push for a policy of acquiescence if not surrender in the West Philippine Sea. So please lang, guys, I hope people understand where we are right now. Okay? Where we are right now. We are approaching an elections. Now, in that context, it is extremely important. Optics is extremely important, and it's extremely important people are judicious about who they meet, who they take picture with or not, and what that meeting will mean, what that meeting could be interpreted as. Okay? And let me again set out the predicate, okay? Let me be absolutely clear again, ha? Okay? Mukhang hindi pa rin klaro sa mga kaibigan natin dyan anong situation ngayon. The Dutertes are potentially on their last ropes right now, okay? Now, that is not in contradiction to what I've said repeatedly. Do not underestimate the Dutertes. If you give them a rope and if they recover, they will come out strong. And who knows, they could come out with vengeance. But as of now, delikado ng mga Dutertes. You look at the latest surveys. You don't want to believe me. Look at the latest surveys. Pababa yung approval rating ni Sara. But that's not, hindi issue yan. Pangalawa, pataas si Raffy Tulfo as presidential candidate, preferable candidate for 2028. Lamang na si Raffy Tulfo kay Sara for 2028. Okay? I'm just telling you guys, these are the data and facts, data points. Third, more important data point. I'll tell you guys, halos kahit isang Duterte ay hindi sigurado sa Senado. Okay? If you look at the Okta survey that came out, even si Digong ay hindi siguradong-sigurado. Alright? Even si Digong ay hindi siguradong-sigurado. Baste, completely out. Pulong, completely out. Just 2-3 months ago, Sara had the audacity to joke by Duterte. To joke na magpapatakbo sila ng 3 Dutertes. Ngayon, baka isa lang hindi makapasok. The only DDS na halos siguradong makapasok is Bongo. And Bongo is a long conversation we can have about him because I think Bongo is a very smart guy in terms of creating his own political base, the whole Malasakit Project initiative, performativity, whatever. But let's go back to this, all right? The Dutertes are in a very, very precarious situation right now. Okay? Very, very precarious situation right now. 1 second lang ha, may mga walang yung troll na yan. Anong pinagsasabi mo Duterte? Kakaingotan itong mga to. Okay. The Dutertes are on in a kind of a desperation mode. Alright? Okay? Don't worry, I will go to Abalos very shortly. I'll tell you how exactly all of these are connected. So, if you are Sara Duterte right now, you are looking for some big moves, big maneuvers, big performative stunts, big speeches. Why? Because you're already on the last ropes. Hirap na hirap kayo. Baka kahit isa sa inyo hindi manalo sa midterm elections. Alright? Pababa yung approval ratings mo. Alanganin ka. Most likely, may impeachment complaint laban sa inyo. I have my doubts if it will prosper before the elections, but hindi ako nag-rule out ng possibility na may blue notice or red notice na mangyari sa ICC. So in short, desperation mode ng mga Dutertes. Now, you don't want to believe me, You don't want to believe me? Fine. Go ahead. But look at the statement by Sara Duterte she released last night. That's quite interesting. Ito ay galing sa opisina mismo ng Sara Duterte. Alright? Look at it. They also can see what we can see. Alright? Hindi naman sila syungang-syunga eh. Gets din nila, nakikita natin yung nakikita nila. Alright? So let me just bring out the statement exactly here. Sorry, wala na pala akong late tayo nagbayad. Di ba ako nagbayad ng isang ano ko? Overpriced kasi mga telecoms dito eh. I tell you guys, when I say something, dahil tinitignan ko yung buong landscape. I look at the big picture. I don't look at only one side of the story. I look at the full story. Alright? That is my job. I write academic books. I write journal articles. I do vlogging every day. So I look at every single angle when I make an analysis. Okay? And don't worry, we will go to discussions of decency, Jesus meeting sinners. Let's talk about. Alright? Jesus saying things about justice. Papunta tayo dyan. Don't worry guys. Pero dito muna tayo. Etong statement ni Sara Duterte. Alright? Na lumabas lang kanina. Actually, kagabi. Alright? Let me just... Okay. Zoom natin dito. Okay? Ito yung statement Vice President, makinig na lang kayo kung hindi makita. Vice President Sara Duterte is excited to experience her first ever Peña Francia Fiesta. Okay, God bless the fiesta. She was invited by a Bicolana friend to attend the centennial anniversary mass of the canonical coronation of Our Lady of Peña Francia on September 20. May God bless her. The same friend also arranged a casual meeting with casual meeting. I just explained to you guys, we're in the middle of a political warfare. I'm just explaining to you guys, an impeachment complaint will more likely than not be filed soon against her. Shall I remind the legacy of the Dutertes and what Sara has been saying about Leni and opposition and all? Alright? But ito nag-arrange casual meeting with former Vice President. During her stay in Naga, Vice President Duterte visited several prominent Bicol personalities. Diba? And then Bicolana, and then ito very important where she said, she neither looked desperate nor distressed. Neither desperate nor distressed. Why should the Sara Duterte camp emphasize that? Na hindi siya desperado. Why should she emphasize that? Because she's desperate. Obviously, she's desperate. It's like Leni, in the moment of desperation, I don't know, goes to Ilocos or goes to Davao, right? And then says, I'll have a casual meeting. Habang bugbog sarado from the president's side. Seriously, guys. Come on, seriously, guys. You tell me, can you have a casual meeting while a political warfare is happening and the Philippines is at the front line of this US-China rivalry at bugbog sarado tayo ngayon sa West Philippine Sea? Oh, you tell me, guys. Alright? I'm not passing any judgment. I'm just telling you the context here. I'm just having a hard time understanding how can you have a casual moment here. Now, to tell you how fair I am, last year, nagkaroon ng meeting between Leni and Tita Arroyo. Okay, so I'm even transparent na related kami ni President Arroyo, but that never affects my political. That year, ang sabi nila, that was just a social dinner. Ito na, naging uso na itong social dinner, casual meeting, mga ganyan. We are talking about politics here, guys. There's nothing spontaneous or casual here. At least, as far as the Duterte side and all is concerned. Ito guys So last year itong meeting nangyari, marami nag-react, pero ang sagot, okay lang yan, social dinner. Social dinner lang yun daw. Ito with Arroyo. And I said, fine, okay. Last year, no big deal. Wala naman elections. Hindi pa watak-watak yung the unit team. Fine, okay. The good former vice president is in a social activism mode. I don't know. Maybe it's okay to be nice. I am all for being nice. All right? I'm all for being nice. I have no problem with being nice. I have no problem with being polite. I am polite. I'm nice. And I also have no problem with meeting with the other side. I debated one of the biggest trolls of the Duterte time when no one dared to attack them directly. I went there and debated them in their own ground. And then all of these tatong mga walang yang dilawan said, Richard, you're platforming them. Richard, you're giving legitimacy to them. No! I made a fool out of them. I made them look like fools. They look like, forget about sophomoric, they look like a joke next to me when I debated my case. Alright? Now, but back then, Duterte was in power, so medyo, the odds were against me. But forget about it. This is not about any one of us. This is about the fact that you cannot separate Sara Duterte's decisions and maneuvers right now from the bigger political context. The fact that her office has to come out and say, hindi siya desperado. I mean, I don't know. Desperado or distressed just tells you how desperate and distressed they are right now. So, if last year you can have a social meeting, dinner with Tita Arroyo, okay lang. Okay lang sa akin. Last year yun kasi wala naman okay. But now, ibang usapan ngayon. Bakit hindi bumisita si Sara last year or the other year? Bakit ngayon bibisita si Sara? Why would Sara Duterte seek out a meeting like this? You tell me, guys. Now, again, don't believe me, no problem. Look at what the Duterte trolls, biggest Duterte trolls and the propagandists are, DDS propagandists are saying. Okay? Pinost ko yan kahapon, just in case for some people who are not appreciating the situation. This was being maximized right and left from their camp. Alright? Okay, this was being maximized right and left from their camp. And don't worry, we will have a religious discussion soon. Don't worry about it. I read my religious text. Don't worry about it. We will talk about religious discussion, all right? Don't bring me, we will have discussions about that. Okay? Just trying to pull out this thing. I'll read to you line by line anong sinasabi ng kabilang kampo. All right? How are they trying? Look at how they're trying to juice out this situation. Now, we can have a debate about whether it's working or not. But to begin with, why should you give them a chance to spin this thing into something else? Because alam nyo naman, guys, ang strategy talaga ng mga DDS ngayon is desperate sila, they're looking for any ally, and they're looking to get people from the genuine opposition and the anti-Marcos people to be on their side. Okay, I spelled it out. If just in case hindi kayo nag-isipan, hindi nag-gets ano nangyari dito. Alright? Yes, tama. She is in a very precarious situation. She's in a desperate mode, and she would love to, carve out something from every side and to make herself as part of. Look at it this way, guys. How the DDS are weaponizing the liberal discourse. They talk about people power. They talk about protect Kiboloy. They talk about human rights and due process. They talk about Marcos dictatorship. Like, interesting. Anong sinasabi ni Digong nung time niya nasa presidente siya? Oh yeah, nilagay niya si Marcos Sr. sa libingan ng mga bayani. Yun ang ginawa ng mga Duterte. But now, they're suddenly talking about people power, right? Now, suddenly, they care about due process. Now, suddenly, they care about human rights. Human rights. Clearly, guys, wine-weaponize na yung diskurso ng liberalismo. Kaya nga, ang post ko is, I made it absolutely clear. Just because anti-Duterte ka doesn't mean dapat tahimik ka sa mga maling ginagawa ng kasalukuyan na administrasyon. Pero, in the same vein, kung galit ka sa mga Marcoses, hindi ibig sabihin na magpapagamit ka sa mga Dutertes. Alright, I'm not saying anyone is doing that, but this is a statement of principle I made very, very clear last night. Alright? Not to mention, for me, if you don't make a clear moral and principled stance, there will never be a true alternative. And there will be no true alternative unless there's a strong and clear third force, which is what we really need right now. Okay? More than ever. But going back to this, I'm trying to pull out how they're spinning this. Kasi, for me, I just find it amazing how people are ignoring how the other side, ito, basahin ko alam niyo na kung sino galing yan, I won't dignify na. Hindi ako na-shock dyan sa meeting ni Sara, hindi ako yan binabasa ko yung mga nag-juice out ito sabi hindi ako na-shock dyan sa meeting ni Sara at Leni sa Naga City. Pareho silang probinsyana at alam nilang pareho kung paano pinaikot ng mga alta sa Manila ang kanilang buhay politika. Noong 2022, may Team Rosa, Robredo, Sara. Kaya mas tumataas boto ni Sara kay BBM. The implication is there are Robredo people who supported Sara but not BBM. I think if someone did their research, some would also argue that back in 2016, there were some DDS who supported Robredo over BBM kaya natalo si BBM noong 2016. This is what the DDS camp is doing right now. As we speak, they're spinning this to their own favor and making it look that there's a new uniteam against BBM, that there's a new realignment against BBM, that Sara right now is a de facto leader of opposition, that Sara right now is at this on the same moral playing field as the former vice president, na pareho silang probinsyana, parehas silang inaapi, parehas silang babae. Look at this line. I honestly find it extremely baffling that some of our good friends are acting as if this reality does not exist. A, the reality that we are in the middle of a political, all-out political warfare. B, that there is a side here which is desperate and looking for any rope to pull itself up and gain any kind of momentum and push back against anything. But C, and this is the most important thing, guys. This is the most important thing. Alright? And I posted this, kagabi ko pa inisip yan, sinulat ko, sabi ko, let me sleep on this. If I feel the same about this after 10-12 hours, then I'll post it. So I slept, I had my dreams, I had my prayers, I wake up, I feel exactly the same. In fact, I feel even more convinced about what I said. And let me read. Oh, ito ako na yan ha. Hindi na yung mga trolls. After everything Duterte's did to opposition leaders like Senator Leila de Lima, and Leila de Lima is not alone, I can go on and on and on. Lahat ng mga kabastusan, kababuyan na ginawa sa mga leaders ng opposition throughout the Duterte presidency, after all the extrajudicial killings, alright? You want to talk about decency? You want to talk about being nice? Then decency for EJK victims. Then decency for victims of the witch hunts and all of that. After all the deafening silence on West Philippine Sea, deafening silence on West Philippine Sea, ang dami nilang masabi ukol sa Afghanistan, sa Gaza. Actually, I agree with Sara when she called for ceasefire. Good. See, I'm fair. I am fair. I give credit where credit due and I call a spade. Alright? But, ang dami mong satsat kung ano-anong issue na yan, pagdating sa West Philippines, silence lang. And then mag-Yumenat Mandarin ka pa ng ano. After all that silence, and I'm not talking about Digong anymore, not Digong alone. This is the whole family. After all, this is very important. Think about this. Riza Ontiveros has been on this throughout the past 2 years. As the leader of opposition, Riza has taken up the cudgels to expose everything that is wrong with Duterte, including with the current vice president. That whole hearing that exposed that the whole Yumenat mumbo jumbos inside Senate, that was by Riza Ontiveros, and Riza has been doing that as a leader of the opposition. And what Sonny Trillanes have exposed, together with Riza, about the notorious practices of this family. For heaven's sake, look at what the Quadcom is exposing, or is supposedly exposing. Look at what is, what is... Simple lang naman sinasabi ko eh. In consideration of all of these things, A, we're in the middle of political warfare on the last ropes ng mga Duterte, desperate na sila. B, nasa gitna tayo ng itong warfare ng mga China and itong West Philippines. And C, given all the legacies of Duterte and all of that, simple lang sinabi ko, guys. No one is obliged to entertain them. No one is obliged to entertain them. No one is forcing. Bakit? Ano yun, parang may kumatok lang sa door. Ay, sorry, sige, pasok tayo, ganun. I am civil and polite, and I had debates and discussions. I had debate with this and that. Okay. But I was absolutely clear about where I stand on things. On the record, off the record. So, simple lang naman ang sagot ko dyan eh. Simple lang naman ang sagot ko dyan eh. Diba? Mag-release na sila, sana mag-release ng statement si ma'am and all to clarify na this is not an endorsement of Duterte's, this is not about any Rosa thing, and she has to make her stance absolutely clear on where Sara Duterte stands. Should she be impeached or not? Has she committed wrongdoing? Do the Dutertes have to meet justice? Pag-usapan natin yan. Now, I also made it very clear, speaking of decency, the most decent thing to do is not to pretend everything is fine and normal. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I think there's some people who are saying, let's just be nice and all of that and everything will be fine, especially when dealing with someone who represents every threat to your supposed or professed core convictions. Alright? Ayan. Sasagutin ko yung mga kaibigan natin dito. And then there are also interesting people who said something here. Ito. Meron isang magaling na, I so disagree with this. Before all those issues, humanity comes first. Blah, blah, blah. Siyempre, dapat human tayo, mabait tayo. Sabi ko, oh, you mean humanity for EJK victims or humanity for Senator De Lima? Or humanity for confidential fund? Kawawa naman ang confidential fund ng ginastos. Magpakabait naman tayo sa mga malakas gumastos ng confidential fund. Alright? Now, someone said, even Jesus had meals with sinners. Alright, we can talk about the parable of the tax collector and all. I'm all good with that. But do not forget, Jesus also said, do not suppose that I've come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace but a sword, meaning justice, social justice. That's what Jesus Christ fought for. Alright, to bring justice on earth and goodness on earth. And there will be no justice on this earth if you don't fight for it. And there'll be no justice in this earth if we just try to play nice and casual and social with people who represent everything that goes against your core convictions. So in short, now let's go to some of the responses in Palusut, okay? Now, one response I said, nakita ko, hindi, pero dumaan din naman si Abalos nung DILG secretary. Kaya nga sabi ko, exactly, Abalos wants to run for Senate. Medyo nahihirapan si Abalos ngayon, obviously. May konting chance pa siya, so he's trying to get support from Leni. It exactly proves the point. When someone like Abalos, who wants to run for Senate, goes to Leni, tells you that they're looking for political mileage, and then you tell me Sara is going there not for political mileage, or there will be no political mileage there? Are you kidding me? Just look at your arguments, for heaven's sake. Alright? Get your act together, guys. Get your act together. If you stand for democracy and convictions, show that. Don't make palusot or anything like that. Get your act together. We need a real third political force, and we're not gonna get that with this style. Okay? Kampo-kampo lang. I'm so disappointed with so many people here who are just defending for the sake of defending. Simple lang naman solution dito eh. Just like when I deal with people from the after all, I come out and say, no, we don't agree on these issues. And by the way, I completely disagree with them. And if so you can see, guys, walang mangyayari sa ating bansa if you're not serious people. And we're not serious people if you just want to be nice and casual all the time, including with the very people who go against the very principles that we're supposed to stand for. So yun lang. You want to talk about humanity? Talk about humanity to EJK victims, to the memory of EJK victims. You want to talk about decency? Let's talk about how we ask people who are not saying anything in defense of West Philippine Sea. So, actually, I don't have a problem kung nag-meet sila and then sinabi, ma'am, sana magsalita ka sa West Philippine Sea. Ma'am, sana ayusin mo yung confidential fund. But if there's no statement gonna come out and then people are just gonna poo-poo it and all, I don't know about it. And don't tell me, please, biglang kumatok lang isang tao tapos pinapasok mo lang. You tell me, in what universe will Sara Duterte go all the way, alright, to a certain place and just katok lang on door, ay, dito ka. You honestly believe that's how it works? You think a Vice President of the Republic will just drop by and knock on your door and say, oh, sorry, andito ako? Unbelievable. 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 This is unbelievable. Good luck talaga sa Pilipinas. Honestly, good luck talaga sa atin kung ganyan, hanggang ganyan lang talaga tayo forever. Alright? We play the purist game and all of that, and then suddenly when it comes to your side, suddenly, oh no, it's nothing, it's ganyan. For me, you have to make tactical maneuvers necessary, but you have to be absolutely clear about your strategic goals and your core convictions. Wala akong problema. I said, I see the point of some people saying there has to be some tactical, something like that. And by the way, let me be very clear to our genius friends. There is no way you can beat Duterte and Marcos sabay. Right? So that's why there's an argument that wait lang, first get rid of the most number one threat to our democracy or constitutional order, and then we can fight the next one on that. There's no way you can fight them both at the same time. And now that there's an all-out war, you have two options. Build your own third force or side with one of them against the other. And I hope we start building our own third progressive alternative force. But how are we going to build that if everyone is just going to be, oh, kakampi kami, di-defend natin, whatever. Simple lang solution. I hope Ma'am Leni comes out and makes everything clear. This meeting had nothing to do with convergence of political interest or convergence of ideological interest. I have not forgotten, never forgotten, and will never forgive all of the crimes committed against the Filipino people during the Duterte presidency, nor will I condone the abuse of confidential funds and everything else that Rizal Ontiveros, Trillanes, all of these people have been exposing, not only about the Duterte family, but the practices of the current OVP. Yun lang. Simple lang yan. Okay? Now go, attack me. Dun sa mga dilawan na you wanna attack me again, good luck sa inyo, alright? You are not gonna get away with this, alright? You guys have been trying to bully us all these years, not to say anything, and just choose between you guys. Wala na, tapos na yung era na yan. Tapos na yung era na yan. This is a new era, okay? And we're gonna push for good change, for real change. And wala kaming pake kung mga kulto-kulto kayo dyan, bahala kayo sa buhay nyo. It's time to move forward, and it's time to do the right thing for this country. It's time to do the right thing for this country. And I'm not saying that because I'm perfect. I have had my share of mistakes and imperfections and all of that. But I bother to come out and clarify and explain and apologize and reconsider and recalibrate and reflect and say again and come back again and do it again. But there are many people out there who never accepted any mistake. They're perfect. They're amazing. They're unquestionable. Fantastic. Amazing. Great people. Amazing people. Amazing people. They say, they're perfect. No problem. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. You can see again, this is not coming from somewhere light. Hindi lang ito pa cute. Anything like, I have a class right now. I have to go to my class. Sorry, guys. I have my duties and all. But this is the least I can say at this point in time. And when I said Sara was doing something right, it was a warning to her enemies that the Dutertes will come back strong and stronger than ever. That's why I used Ralph Waldo Emerson warning. If you strike at the king, you have to finish the job. Otherwise, they'll come back with vengeance. And I'm telling you guys, this was not the right time for a casual social meeting. Unless there's something more to this. So it's very important that there be a clarification that there's nothing more to this. And more importantly, dapat klaro ang mga tao where do they stand on the issue. I stand with West Philippine Sea. And yes, if the administration has done well on the West Philippine Sea, so be it. But I also criticize the PhilHealth situation, the Maharlika Fund situation. I also criticize the legacy of the martial law, everything like that. My stance is clear. You have to be clear on this issue. Hindi pwede pa-cute, hindi pwede papyaw-hapyaw, hindi pwede iwanan mo lang sa ibang tao to defend you, etc. You have to be absolutely clear about where you stand on issues. The Philippines is at the crossroads. This is the crossroads, and we're facing the most important consequential midterm elections. We are in the middle of a political warfare. We are in the middle of a Cold War between US and China. We are fighting for our national patrimony dyan sa West Philippine Sea. Hindi ito pa-cute time. Alright? Ayusin na natin yung ginagawa natin and where we stand on issues. Alright? Salamat. Thank you very much, guys. Later on, to relax things a bit, hopefully tuloy na yung usapan natin with Lord De Vera. Okay? To a little bit lighten up the discussions and look at the big picture. We'll talk to Lord De Vera, who I think had so far 2 perfect predictions about the outcomes of the Duterte and Marcos administration. He's someone I always talk to before there's a new president, particularly very controversial presidents. Thank you very much. Mabuhay po kayo. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. God bless you. God bless the great people of Naga and Bicol. I hope one day, yung mga lowly journalists, columnists, professors na katulad natin, I hope one day bibigyan din kami ng audience if nag-knock lang kami ng door without any coordination. Hindi naman kami OVP, hindi naman kami galing sa malaking pamilya like dynasties ni Duterte. But I hope one day if we knock on the door in Bicol or somewhere, we will also be nicely entertained. On that note, thank you very much and abangan conversation natin with Lord De Vera.